name's Jake.
Hey, my name's Garrett.
And welcome to the podcast. We're glad that you're joining us this morning. We wanted to introduce ourselves a little bit so you can get to know us. And so, Garrett, why don't you tell us about yourself?
Well, hey guys, my name's Garrett. I've been around here, seems like forever. I'm at Carolina Baptist here in Andalusia. Grew up in Opp. Went to Opp High School and was there. I was a wallflower, so if you went to school with me, you probably didn't hear me speak for however many years we went to school. But here I am. I'm at Carolina Baptist. Like I said, I'm the student pastor here, and I'm working on my 13th year now. So, kind of grew roots here and had the opportunity to minister to some really awesome students. Last night I was actually trying to make a list of all the students we've had through here, and it's just kind of neat to see where they all are now and see what God's doing in their lives. So that's a little bit about me. Also, I drive a school bus. So if you see me driving the school bus and I'm going fast or I'm doing something I shouldn't be doing, don't call and complain, okay? I have kids to feed, so don't, all right? Jake, tell us about yourself.
My name's Jake, and Jake Wimberly, and I'm from Samson, Alabama. I love saying that because it rings a bell with people. They just think, Snuff City, 2 red lights, this joker, he's our people. And so that's the way people think around here. But I'm at Bethany Baptist Church here in Andalusia. I'm the student pastor there. I've been there about a year, and we've moved around a lot. My family has, from place to place over the years, and moved up to Kentucky for a little while and then back down south. But I got my start in youth ministry in 2013. I started volunteering with student ministry, and then by the summer of 2014 I had a staff position. It works like that a lot of times. They're just like, hey, come hang out, come help out, and all of a sudden, hey, we'll pay you a little bit to do this. And so that happened. So we're on year 6, going into year 7 of student ministry for me. And so I don't know if there's such thing as a professional in student ministry, but we got 2 decades of combined experience here that we're rolling with. I've
been joking that my desire, one thing you don't see so many times is people retire from student ministry, and a guy, I like to call him a mentor. I like to see what a lot of the things he does. His name's Dave Paxton. He's in Florida, been in Tennessee, used to be in Pensacola at Olive Baptist, and he always said, I'm going to retire from student ministry. I personally would like to retire from student ministry. I mean, counting my time, I've got 15 in, so if this was a state job, I got 10 left. But I think it's not a state job.
No, not a state job in a long ways.
A long ways. So, Jake came to me and just talked about how God had placed on his heart to do a podcast. There's so many things out there. Everybody is just blowing social media up.
Absolutely.
COVID-19 has put some airwaves out there, and we just want to give people and students the opportunity to hear us. We're going to talk about some hard things today, and in the months to come, and we just want. I think we talked about this last night in our youth group. I think the thing that youth pastors need to do the most is get the elephant out of the room. We need to be willing to say, okay, hey, look, this is a hard thing to talk about, but we're going to talk about it, and we're going to, we're going to discuss it. That's how we learn.
That's right.
That's how students learn.
That's right.
And last night we were talking about a really tough issue. After everybody left, there was about 10 kids left, and we were sitting in lawn chairs under our carport here at the church, and we just talked about some hard things. We talked about some things right now that is really just weighing on our country, and it was a great time. Like, everybody was just taking it in, and they were chirping in, and that's how we develop our ideas.
That's right.
So
I think this generation has an excellent fluff meter. You know what I mean? Because they grew up in such a fake world, they can spot a fake immediately, and they desire authenticity. Somebody just to be real, shoot straight, talk about issues directly with them, and so that's...
Absolutely. And speaking about fake, we decided one part of our podcast time that we were going to do news. We're going to talk about news, but we're not going to talk about your normal news, okay? You've seen that, okay? Everybody's watched the news. Everybody sees the Facebook.
Lord, we got enough of that.
Yes. So we're going to talk about news that you have not heard of, okay?
That's right.
First news here. As you know, the little tropical storm or depression, whatever it was, come up through Louisiana. And if you've ever been to Louisiana, there's a lake there. As you come into New Orleans, it's called...
What's the name of it?
Lake Pontchartrain.
Pontchartrain.
And listen, it is
Say that 3 times fast.
Beast. Like, we here in South Alabama would say that there's an ocean. But, it's not. It's a lake. But Pontchartrain. So this gentleman, I don't know his name, but him and his girlfriend went out on a boat as the storm was coming in. Fishing, riding, I don't really know what they were doing. But as the storm got closer, it capsized their boat. They had one life jacket in the boat, which I think probably going to be a fine for him. I think so. One life jacket in the boat. So he gives it to his girlfriend, who he says was absolutely in a panic. I would be too, personally. And he grabbed onto a log that was floating in the water. Now get this.
Good old Jack and Rose style.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Get this. 25 hours in the water.
Woo!
They tried to flag airplanes down. Nobody could see them.
Woo!
So it says by the time the storm lifted and they were able to get help, they had drifted 18 miles from where their boat had sunk. They had drifted up into a swamp in Louisiana. Now we all know what's in the swamp in Louisiana.
Phil Robertson.
Yeah, gators. Gators. And probably anacondas. I don't know. Wampus cats.
Yeah.
I mean,
Swamp donkeys.
swamp donkeys.
Swamp donkeys are real.
They had floated into this swamp. They walked out of the swamp down a dirt road that had flooded because, I mean, they got like 4, 6, 8 inches of rain there. And they walked knee-deep flooded road until they could find help. 25 hours. Your thoughts?
I don't know, man. I was in North Georgia just earlier this week, and we were on a river, and I decided to swim across the river. I was wanting to be big and bad, and the river was probably about, I don't know. It's hard to say how wide this river was, but it was too wide to swim across. Well, I did it anyway.
English Channel.
It looked like an English Channel to me, and I swam across this bad boy with my kids watching, cheering me on, go daddy, and I got to the other side, and I felt like dying. And I had to rest, and then I started back. And about halfway through, I gave out and had to like float a little bit. I mean, I got really worried I was going to drown at some point. So can you imagine being in this for 25 hours, man?
25 hours.
I don't know.
Treading water.
Did it happen during the day? Did it happen at night?
All 24 hours.
It was just, yeah.
So they got both the best of both. And I mean, while a tropical storm was happening. Crazy. The Coast Guard said they had never seen anyone survive that.
Too bad Jesus wouldn't asleep in that boat.
That's right. Jesus would have kept that boat from sinking. Absolutely. One more news thing, and then we'll move on to more important things. But what do you think about this? End times, guys. End times.
This is an end times update.
We have issues. Okay, we have Corona. All right, Corona. We have what was the other thing? The meteor, the size of the Empire State Building.
Is there a meteor? I heard about killer hornets. Did you hear about the killer hornets?
I heard about killer hornets.
Killer
it's like
hornets
murder
are real.
hornets. Okay, so that's coming. You know, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what. Okay, hold on. I got some. Oh crap! Wrong. Sorry, said the wrong thing.
Let it out.
So here's where we're at. A company has just received clearance from the EPA to release 2 million genetically altered mosquitoes in the state of Florida and the state of Texas. Florida's close to home.
Yeah.
So these mosquitoes are going to go out there. They've been genetically altered. They've been completely rebuilt from their genetics.
Like robots.
Yes, to not be able to carry diseases.
You ever seen that movie Deep Blue Sea with the
Yeah,
sharks?
there you go.
Oh man.
Now we're dealing with, we got mosquitoes.
This sounds like an incredibly wise investment of government dollars right here.
Exactly. So they're going to let these things go, and it says what they're planning on doing is they're planning on breeding them with wild mosquitoes, and then the wild mosquitoes, they're not going to be able to have babies. So they say wild mosquitoes may be eradicated within 5 years. But what are we going to do with robot mosquitoes?
I don't know. But I can just imagine the memes taking place through this.
Robot mosquitoes.
It scares me. I mean, you know, I read about the bees dying out. They say if the bees die out, everything dies out. So, you know, I'm not sure losing the mosquitoes is a good thing.
Are we going to, like when they sting you, are they going to put a chip in you? You know, that's what everybody's going to worry about. Nanobots.
They could turn us into robots.
Could be.
Could work like a zombie. You bite, you get bit, you turn into a robot.
So what's next? I mean, we're in like June. So now we've got robot mosquitoes, meteorite, we've got murder hornets. I feel like we skipped those, but anyway, murder hornets. We got Corona.
I'm not sure how you can be certain that the robot mosquitoes would desire the real mosquitoes. You know, what if they can spot a fake? What if they're like, man, I don't want her.
This is a robot mosquito.
Exactly.
So
maybe they don't, they don't believe in being unequally yoked.
But then it could be where like the new dude that moves into town, and all the girls were crazy about him in high school. Like, oh, he's so hot.
Ooh, boy.
He's cute. He has a nice car.
Yeah, I played that role a time or two.
Look at those wings, man.
They're
spotless. So anyway, enough of that craziness there, man. Listen, we live in a crazy world with a lot of crazy questions. Crazy questions.
Absolutely crazy.
So here's what we got. Jake has a box at his church, and
I do.
And tell us about the box, Jake.
Man, it's a wonderful ministry. It's became a powerful aspect of student ministry, and I've been doing it for a while. I did it at my last youth group that I was in charge of. But so I just let students ask anonymous questions. They drop their questions in the box, and I'll answer one or two of them every Wednesday night, depending on how much time I have. And so they'll ask me questions about my personal life, personal testimony. They'll ask me questions about a biblical story, character, biblical passage that's confusing, or they'll ask me questions about cultural issues that are in the news or taking place at school and stuff like that. And so it's been really cool. It's been a glimpse into the mind of a teenager when they're asking these questions, you know. And there's a lot of duplicates. A lot of kids are thinking about the same thing. And so, but it's been neat to take that and then take it and answer it from a Christian worldview. Which is good. So many of their questions are being answered by people, but not from a Christian worldview, you know, from the media, from secular worldview. And so there's some topics that we talk about that are tough topics that parents might not necessarily get excited about them talking about, but, you know, at the end of the day, you'd rather them talk about it with their Christian friends and with their youth pastor than seek advice all over social media and stuff like that. So. Yeah, man. So we're gonna answer a couple of those questions for you this morning. So I had one last night that we just answered, and it's a pretty common sort of theme about the question. I've probably answered over 100 questions at this point, student questions, and I think like the majority of my questions, it's hard to narrow it down. You'd think that the hottest topic would be sex, relationships, and dating. You know, is it okay to date in high school? How far is too far? I've answered that question, by the way. And that makes up a good maybe 40% of my questions. A lot of them are related to handling depression. Several about suicide. A lot of them are, how do I know I'm saved? Or how to deal with teachers who don't believe the gospel, who are atheists and whatnot. How do you do that? And so, but this one last night comes from a really faithful church goer. I know who asked it, that's why I say that. And the question is, I've heard people say that getting high, smoking marijuana, or vaping is okay according to the Bible. That's the way the question was worded. And so what do I think about that? Second question attached to it, piggyback on it, is I've also heard that it's okay or more okay to have sex before marriage if you know that you're going to marry the person. So what are the thoughts on that? And so just off the cuff, what do you think about that, Garrett? Somebody says, hey man, I'm looking through my Bible. It definitely doesn't say, word for word, don't smoke marijuana or don't vape. So what's your thoughts on that?
My thoughts on that, I mean, it's kind of funny that question came up a couple years ago. My parents owned chicken houses, and they had a guy working for them, and we took a break one day, and we're all sitting around. I was in ministry then. This has only been a couple years ago, and he sits down and lights one up, man. Right there, just ties one on, and we're like...
Just a wonderful smell.
I'm just sitting here like, what's going on here? And he's like, Preacher, let me tell you something. Let me ask you something, preacher. I said, okay, what's up? He's like, did God say that every plant, everything he made on earth was good? I said, he did say that. It was in Genesis. I can take you there. He said, well then, did God not make marijuana? Well, if it was created, if it's here, he made it. It's a plant. He said, well then, therefore, marijuana must be good. And he burned one down.
Incredible logic from this guy.
And he was like, yeah, You would have to know this guy. I promise if you knew this guy, you would understand. But anyway, here's my take on that. You know, God made snakes as well.
Yes, He did.
But here's what's not going to happen. God made rattlesnakes. God made water moccasins. God made anacondas. And here's what's not going to happen. I'm not going to mess with them. I mean,
I ain't never met a snake I like.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, God gives us common sense. Now, here's the thing about marijuana. Marijuana is a gateway. You know, marijuana is one of those drugs that, you know, oh, it may not hurt me, it may relax me, it may have all these effects to it, but, you know, it is a gateway into something else. Recently, my doctor told me I need to lay off soft drinks, okay?
Did he really?
So, he did.
You're not making this up?
I'm not making this up. I'm getting overweight. And here's what happens. So, in December 31st, I drink my last Pepsi. Chug that sucker. I'm like, this is it.
Are you a big Pepsi drinker?
Love
usually?
Pepsi.
Man.
220 ounces a day, typically, which is not
Jeez.
good. A lot of sugar.
Gosh.
So, you know, so here I am. The doctor says you need to give them up. Took my last one, December 31st. Goodbye, old friend. Well, here's what happened around February. I just wanted something other than water. Other than tea. So you know what I did? I drank a Sprite because, you know, Sprite can't be that bad for you. It's clear.
Sure, that's what they say.
It can't be that bad for you. So I started drinking Sprite.
No caffeine.
No caffeine. And I started drinking Sprite. Like, okay, this is going to be better for me. Well, guess what I had this morning before I came to my office? A Pepsi.
Oh.
Because that Sprite led me into a little something else. Led me into Sunkist. Which is probably worse than...
That's kicking it old school,
That's
man.
kicking
That's
it.
taking it back.
I love Sunkist. Well, then I started Sunkist, and then I went to I'm right back to I went to Dr. Pepper next. So, it can't be too bad. The woman that's like 103 drank like 6 a day or whatever she said.
23 flavors in there.
Yeah, 23 flavors. So then I went, and then I'm back to Pepsi. So you say, well, how does that come to marijuana? Well, you know, you may say, well, you know, I'm not going to ever do meth. I'm not ever going to do cocaine or, you know, any of that stuff. But you don't know that. But, I mean, marijuana is a gateway. I mean, if we go over to the jail right now and talk to people that's in there because of drugs, I guarantee you most of them started with cigarettes, went to weed, and then they went on to the hard stuff. So, you know, I just really feel like, you know, everything that just because you can don't mean you should.
That's right. That's right.
So you got any thoughts on that, Jake?
Well, that's sort of the same position I took. I didn't think about it as a gateway. That is new. Like I mean, now that you're saying it, it makes sense. But I didn't initially, my mind didn't go there. But I thought, you know, we have to remember that the Bible's an old book. It's a timeless book, but it was written to a specific audience by a specific person in a specific context. And so the Bible's not going to say exactly what to do about everything. The Bible's not going to say whether you should have a Snapchat or not, which we'll get to in a little bit. The Bible's doesn't say whether you should hit your jewel or not. But we have big principles in the Bible that we can take and we can apply to our situation. And so I told the teenagers last night, I said, you know, just because something is permissible in the Bible, just because there's not a direct, no, you shouldn't do this, doesn't mean that you should just do it as much as you want and as freely as you can. Because it also has to be a level of, what's the word I'm thinking of? Discernment. Yeah, discernment and wisdom to know that there are some things that, hey, God might necessarily not condemn a person for, but is it really profitable for my life? Is it really profitable for my witness? If I'm a Christian and I smoke marijuana, let's just say, would that cause someone to think less of me? Would that somehow turn someone away from the gospel? I think it very well could. And so, do I want to be responsible for that? I do know the Bible has strong warnings against that. And so, man, I'll take that into consideration. I also talked last night, and this is a different perspective that I didn't even mention to you earlier, is that when we talk about people who use marijuana for medical purposes, I know you said you have a family member.
CBD oil.
Yeah, CBD oil, or they're dealing with chronic pain. I know glaucoma patients, sometimes they prescribe medical marijuana. You're taking a big argument, and you're talking about the marginal, the 1%, the 3%, the 5%, and using that to say that marijuana is okay. People do the same thing with abortion all the time.
Absolutely.
All the time.
Yeah.
Hey, what about if the girl was raped? Okay, that might take more of a discussion, but you're pinpointing the 1 or 2% when 98% of these are out of convenience and choice. And so the same goes for drug use when you're talking about, well, it grows out of the ground, it has benefits for the body, let's use it. You can use it for medical reasons, therefore you should use it recreationally, and that is definitely an argument that I've heard.
Yeah.
And
one of the things that you need to keep in mind with that argument is not necessarily, we're not talking apples to apples here.
That's right.
We're not talking about the weed that you buy on the street and the weed that they put in your body for medical purposes. Those are totally different things. The medical marijuana, in a lot of times, in like the CBD oil that everybody uses. I have a family member that used it for arthritis on their knees and on their elbows and places like that, and it seemed to work. Some people say it don't, but those products have the part of the marijuana that makes you high, the part that gets you stoned and all that kind of stuff, that has been removed from that. Or it's even been grown without it in the first place. So, that's one thing I think about when it comes to this is what the Bible says, that your body's a temple. Okay? I don't want to do anything that's going to hurt my body, because, we are the hands and feet of Jesus. I mean, while we're here on earth, our body is to be used to advance God's kingdom. And, if I do something that's going to prevent me from doing that, I believe that's against what God wants me to do. You think about, well, marijuana's not that big a deal. It just helps relax me. Well, there's a lot of things, people smoke marijuana and all of a sudden they do things that they don't even realize they do. It's almost like someone being drunk. I don't even remember getting hit last night, but now I have a huge shiner on my eye. What else did I hit? I mean, what happened?
Yeah, I mean, you're right.
A person I knew in high school, they went to spring break one summer and they got stoned and they stayed drunk the entire week. And the guy said that he was told he slept with 9 different girls that week. He doesn't know their name. He doesn't know anything. He said, I literally could have a child somewhere in this United States that I do not even know about. He said, I don't even remember the week. And guys, as a Christian, that is not the situation we need to be in. I think that is horrible for our Christian witness to think, I might do something with my body that I'm not even going to know. I'm not going to have control over just because I have put a substance in my body. So I believe that we need to be above reproach. I believe we need to say, hey, you know what? My body is a temple, and what my body does and what I do with my body needs to honor God.
That's right.
And honor Jesus. So
that's right. And I said last night, for the answer to this question too, I'd throw this in there, in that, man, if you're asking this question as a 14-year-old or a 16-year-old or an 18-year-old, before we even get to biblical arguments and Christian witness, you're underage. And so let's be wise and understand that there are restrictions put in place not only by God, but also by God-ordained government that are there for your benefit. And so you have no business. You have no business even thinking about doing this underage.
And that kind of goes along with the jewel. We said earlier, should you hit your jewel? Is that
should you hit your jewel?
I mean, that's a popular thing now. I mean,
yeah, man.
I hear a lot of kids. Listen. If you're a student out there listening, other students tell on you. Okay,
that's right.
They tell your youth.
I know of several students that frequent my youth group that hit the jewel. Yes. Okay, I mean, word just comes along.
And listen, we have narcs. Okay, just like drug dealers. Like the police have narcs, we have narcs in our youth group.
Right. That's right.
Jake, you know about this kid? He's got a jewel in his car.
There are no secrets.
There are no. So we know.
There are no secrets.
We know. And guys, listen to me. I mean, it's not cool. Okay.
It's not. It's not cool. It's really not cool.
You look like you're sucking on a USB drive. I mean,
with smoke coming out.
With smoke coming out.
It sounds like it's going to be great for your long-term health, by the way.
Exactly. And that goes right back to that whole idea of, your body's a temple. I don't want to do anything. Listen, guys, those jewels are slam full of toxins. I mean, and I know you're probably young and dumb and like I was, and I'm bulletproof. I'm 24 foot tall, bulletproof.
Right. I can drink 4 Red Bulls in a day, man.
I can drink 4 Red Bulls in a day, and I can drive my car 120 miles an hour, and I can do what I want to.
Live forever, man.
Live forever. But guys, listen to me. The truth of the matter is, you may not.
That's right.
And things that you're doing, consequences now. Jewels are so new they're so
They
new
got
in
no
the
clue.
market. We don't know what they're going to do
They
10
got no
years down
clue.
the road.
It's like the coronavirus.
Yeah.
Government has no clue.
We don't know what they're going to do 15 years down the road.
That's right. That's right.
And you know, guys, you don't want to be that 45-year-old mom at the high school graduation with an oxygen tank.
That's right.
Because you've abused your body. And you know, think about the long term.
Right.
You know, and then on the side note on that, like we said, think about the spiritual aspect of it. You know, are you using your body as a temple for the Lord? And I mean, it goes right back to that every time.
The older I get, the more I look at older people who are in shape, and not only do they look good, but they're able to like play with their grandkids and stuff. And I'm like, man, I want to be like that, you know. And so,
and I will assure you, I will promise you, if you are juuling now at 14, 15, 16, 17, you're not going to be that grandparent. Okay?
You're not.
I mean, just saying. There you go. So
So
should you
moving
jewel?
from should you jewel?
No.
No, you shouldn't jewel.
If you have a jewel.
Should you weed?
Should you weed? No.
No, you shouldn't weed. You shouldn't.
And not to mention, here's another fact on weed. I mean, let's say, okay, I don't care about the temple of the Lord. I don't care about, the side effects. I don't care about the gateway.
Yeah.
Well, here's the fact. You get arrested with it in your car, you're going to screw your life up.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, you're going to, listen.
Looks
you're
great
gonna,
on a college resume,
looks
scholarship
great on it,
application,
yes.
man.
And you know what? There's this thing that you're going to have to fill out one day called a background check to be the church nursery director or whatever.
That's
and they're
right.
going to be like, you were arrested at 17 for possession of marijuana. Tell us about that. And you're going to have to say, I was a dumb kid that had marijuana in my car because I thought it was cool.
You don't want to say that.
You don't want to say that.
You don't want to say that.
And
man.
and listen, guys, it's tough. Listen, being a teenager's tough.
Oh yeah, it is.
I don't want to go back.
Dude, I wouldn't trade it.
But here's what: when you get yourself arrested for possession of marijuana or drug paraphernalia or any of that stuff, you're digging your hole deeper.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're starting already at a disadvantage because you have a criminal record, and you're going to have to check in every week, and you're going to have to do all these things. Josh, just don't do it.
That's right.
It's not worth it.
That's right. It's not worth it.
Let's talk about sex.
Let's talk about sex. I love talking about sex in student ministry because
what about salt and pepper?
Every
Let's talk about sex.
Every time I just say that word sex, like I got a room full of teenagers just go, ready to listen.
I just blushed.
And then I got a few parents on the back. They're like, what's he gonna say? Where's this going? So it's great. It's a big part of my ministry. But honestly, seriously, on a serious note, this question is: if I think I'm gonna marry or know I'm gonna marry the person, does that make having premarital sex not as bad? It's basically the question asked by anonymous teenager here.
Let's say this. I was almost 100% certain I was going to marry 3 different girls.
Oh yeah,
I just want to throw that out.
I don't think mine was 3. I think it was more than that.
So there you go. I'm just going to say your theory is not going to hold up, friend. I mean, my first question is, why do you think you're going to marry this person? Because y'all hang out on Fridays and Saturdays.
Right. They love that.
They love it. They love it.
Soulmates.
Yeah. So I always tell my youth this: the fastest way to ruin a relationship, start having sex.
Absolutely.
Start fooling around. Fastest way.
Absolutely.
Easy. I can probably show you students over and over through the years that they came to me and said, "Hey, me and my girlfriend went too far and we had sex."
Yeah.
What do you think is going to happen?
Yeah. So personal testimony. I don't want to get all up in my business, but Brittany and I are high school sweethearts. Towards the very end of my high school days, there were definitely other girls I dated. There were definitely other guys she dated. But we made an error and sinned and had sex before we were married, and now we've been married 8 years, have 4 beautiful kids, have this wonderful God story. And I look around the landscape of people I went to high school with. We're the only people with that story. What I do see more is that a bunch of people who were doing this stuff in high school who did get married right out of high school. And I'm not saying getting married right out of high school is wrong. It's not. But a lot of these people, I'm looking at them and they're already divorced. They're in their late 20s. They're not even, a lot of people ain't even married by their late 20s. They're already divorced. Some of them have been divorced twice. I know of a couple girls, and I'm just saying, I don't know. It's just not wise to think like that. I told my teenagers last night, I've never met anyone with the gift of prophecy so profound that they can look at their girlfriend in high school and know that they're going to marry them. But
And you know, I look back at those girls that I thought I was going to marry, and you know, I'm not saying this is bad about them by no means, but you know, I'm just grateful that God knew more about what I needed in my life than what I thought I needed in my life.
Mm-hmm.
So here's a statistic for you. I saw 3%. I believe the word 3% of high school sweethearts marry. Okay,
Really?
3%.
3%.
Okay, out of that 3%. Only 1% stay married.
Oh man.
So
the odds are against us.
The odds are against you. Now, I'm not saying you're saying, well, hey, me and my high school sweetheart, like there's several people in our church married their high school sweethearts, and they're happily married. So, you know, that statistic can, you know, it can go either way.
It's probably a little greater down here in South Alabama.
I would say the South is.
We like to marry our high school sweethearts a little more down here.
Because, I mean, they make country songs about us.
Yes, absolutely.
And Hallmark movies. So,
and
you know,
if we can put a double wide on some land, you know, we're happy. We're happy. We really don't need that much. We make people the queen of our double wide trailers.
Yeah, that's right. There you go.
And that's okay. I grew up in a double wide trailer. I loved every minute of it, actually.
Absolutely. So here's the thing about sex, guys. God put things. He put boundaries in sex for a reason. There's strings attached to it. You know, there's a lot of movies out there called Just Friends or No Strings Attached. There's strings attached. There's emotional strings that's attached. There's spiritual strings that are attached. And when you begin to have sex outside of marriage, you're jumping into territory that was never meant for outside of marriage.
That's right.
And you know, there's a bond there that you should that God placed there for a reason. And you know, we've all heard the abstinence program. You know, you shouldn't do that. And you shouldn't do this. But you know, here's the biggest thing, and that I say with this is. You know, we need to honor. It goes back to the honoring our bodies. We need to honor our bodies. We need to honor what God has given us and say, hey, you know what? I'm gonna hold out. Listen, if you're gonna really get married, just hang on, okay?
Yeah, just wait.
Just wait.
Wait.
You've waited this long. Why not wait?
Yeah, and so absolutely. And I'd say, man, like God places a fence around our lives. He gives us rules that increase our joy, not take from our joy. Mm-hmm. And it takes maturity to understand that.
Absolutely.
So there are some things that God says not to do, not to keep us from fun, but to actually increase our joy if we'll do it His way, if we'll wait. And
you know, we just got chickens. Did I tell you that?
You did tell me that.
We hatched chickens. That was that was fun. If you ever get the opportunity to hatch chickens, well, now these chickens are.
No, I grew up with chicken houses.
Yeah,
this
we did
is
too.
This is a different thing. Okay,
yeah.
All right.
I got different breeds of them. But here's the deal. I hatched them. I watched them grow from a baby. I mean, I put them in there, man. We cared for them. Me and my sons, we cared for them. We kept an eye on them. And now they hatched into little beautiful little yellow bitties, and we held them. It was great.
Oh, they're cute.
And here's what I did. I built a fence in the backyard.
That's right.
And guess what that fence is? Hawk proof.
Right.
I put a roof on it, and I put like netting around it to keep the hawks out. Now, do I do that because I hate my chickens? No. I put a fence up with a hawk net around it because I don't want a hawk to eat my chickens.
That's right.
I love my chickens. We got them names for them, and you know, I don't want a hawk to come in and steal Checkers, and Checkers be the midnight snack. I mean, so you know, that's the same thing with God. You know, God's, like you said, God's got that parameter around us, not because He wants to steal our joy. Hey, I love when my chickens get out of the pen and let them just catch grasshoppers and worms. I mean, that's great. But I also want to protect them. So that's the same thing that God's doing. God is protecting us in our relationship with others. And that's why He's saying, you know, don't have sex until you're married, because you're going to open a door you don't want to open at that age.
That's right. So, the lasting effects of it are long term. Can I go meet Checkers after we're done here?
Absolutely.
You think Amy would be all right with that if I just sneak over there?
They love it.
I'd love to see Checkers.
My boys will show you. So.
All right, sounds good. So, one more thing I would say about that is that if you are a teenager and you have had sex before marriage, God can redeem that situation. You know, God is He is a God of redemption. He longs to breathe life back into you, and you know, no matter if you're a jewel hitting, weed smoking teenager having sex, I mean, God can make you new, and He longs to, and you know, and just say yes to Him. Everything He calls you to do, read His Word, get in God's Word, and say yes to Him.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He's waiting there, and I think we go back to that story of the woman caught in adultery.
That's right.
You know,
it's my favorite story in the whole Bible, actually.
Well, he didn't say, "Go on, you skanky girl."
He didn't.
You're going to hell. No, he said, he helped her up and said, "Go and sin no more."
And almost, the way I read it, he kind of sought her out, man. Yeah. Like he met her there that well.
And let me just say, like in that story, the people outside are going to attack you. They're going to want to throw you down, but Jesus says, "You know what? Come on."
That's right.
Go and sin no more.
Clean you up, baby. He'll do it.
Talking about cleaning up, should the youth pastor have a Snapchat?
Is that a good transition into that? Talk about cleaning up.
Should
a youth pastor have Snapchat? I have been asked this question time and time again over the years, and you'll read online. Like, I don't know if you follow youth ministry stuff.
Absolutely.
You got podcasts and different stuff, and I wildly different opinions on this. By the way, wildly, very polar opposites. I don't have Snapchat. I don't have Snapchat.
I had it for literally 2 days. My mom and my sister wanted me to have it.
It's so different from when it first came out, like in 2012, 2013, because I got it then for about the 2 days, and I checked it out.
Because you wanted to have puppy dog ears.
Sure. Absolutely. Absolutely. But just the idea of a disappearing picture sounds...
Well, you know what it was created? It was created by two college dudes.
Yeah.
And they literally would say, we created it so girls could send us naked pictures of themselves with the assurance that they're going to go away.
Absolutely. It sounds like a predator trap waiting to happen.
Absolutely. And, so many people say, I've heard girls say this, or not girls, but guys say, well, the picture gets deleted.
Yeah, it's no big deal. It's gone.
But I said, well, what happens if they snap? Like, what happens if they screenshot it? And they're like, well, it tells us if they screenshot it. Okay. But they still have your picture.
Yeah.
You just know that they have it.
Yeah, that's right.
And, even in our county here, we have seen the effects of that.
Absolutely.
We've seen the cost that it takes, and it's cost a life in this county.
Yeah.
And so I personally don't have Snapchat just because of, here's a couple reasons why. First of all, I have too much to do anyway. Like I have Facebook, that's all I have. I had Instagram, I thought I deleted it, but obviously I didn't delete it because everybody got a great sale on Ray-Bans, $19.99 for Ray-Bans.
That's not legit, by the way.
I posted it 3 times in one day, so obviously it was a great deal.
I don't think that.
So obviously I still had...
I got some Ray-Bans, though.
I want some.
But I got a dealer.
I bought Shady Rays last week.
Oh, man, look at you. That's trendy, Shady Rays.
Shady Rays. Shout out. I hope they sponsor us.
I can't get rid of my Coasters, man.
But, I don't have it because, I have 2 kids. And, guys, listen, there's a new thing on your phone, I guess it's new, called Screen Time. And,
it's pretty new, actually.
It is new. And, I pulled mine up the other day. And, guys, it opened my eyes. That day alone, I had spent 4 hours and 47 minutes on my screen.
Is that about your average?
It was that time, at that time. Guys, 4 hours and 47 minutes on my phone.
Golly, mine's not much better.
That's time gone.
Oh, man.
That's time I'm not going to get back with my sons.
Absolutely.
It's time I'm not going to get back with anything. Checkers. Or anybody.
Yeah.
So I don't really want another thing. Here's another reason. I don't want a program that someone can come back, just being above reproach here, say, Brother Garrett sent me a picture of something, but it's gone.
Right.
Right. Because now it's my word versus theirs.
That's right.
And I hope to the Lord that my reputation would precede me in that, but my word versus theirs.
I've always felt like it was far too dangerous for me to have Snapchat and talk to youth on Snapchat. I could see so many benefits.
Absolutely.
I could see me connecting with them, being able to talk with them all day. I could see the gospel getting out, Bible verses, encouragement, great stuff.
What about this? Did your kids do that?
What?
While you're preaching at Bethany?
I don't think I've seen it while I'm preaching.
And you're looking out there preaching to the crowd.
But I get a little Pentecostal sometimes. I get into it and I'm not paying attention to what's going on out there.
Yeah, sometimes I'm preaching and I got kids going,
yeah.
Are they like duck facing because my message is so good? Ooh, that's tough.
I don't know. I'd see it as a compliment.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm not sure. But anyway, man, and then I don't know if teenagers should have it. That's not the question we were asked. That's not,
Yeah.
but that's a different discussion. It's dangerous. Let's just say that for parents, just be aware, be careful, because it is dangerous.
See, I found out this week that some of my kids were posting things on Snapchat, and they had hid the story from their parents. So when I talked to their parents about it, they were like, "This is the first we've heard of this."
So you can find the hidden stories though.
And so, guys, listen, the teenagers, if you have to hide your story from someone, man, I just want to be above reproach. The Bible teaches us to be above reproach. That, that my Facebook page is completely unlocked. So if you're a rank stranger, actually the Crown Prince of Uganda, who wanted my bank account to help him move money, he could go check out my Facebook page. He could see it. He could see my pictures.
Really? He contacted me too.
Yeah, so.
He was really disappointed when he actually saw my bank account.
Yeah, me too.
But, man, I'd say that's, I was going to say something, but then I forgot it. I forgot.
That happens. Got sometimes.
Oh, goodness.
So,
it was really good.
Here's my thing.
I forgot. Oh, I was going to say, in high school, when I had to hide stuff like that, man, it was exhausting.
Absolutely.
It is exhausting hiding stuff from your parents all the time. Hiding stuff from your boyfriend or girlfriend because you're cheating on them with another boyfriend or girlfriend. Like, it's, golly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Man, it's so liberating just to live a wild
life. Listen,
life.
Be thankful for the parents that will check your phones.
Oh, yeah.
They do that because they love you.
Oh,
it goes back to the chickens in the pen. They're doing that because they love you, not because they want to put you in a cage.
That's right.
So anyway, here's my final take. Should a youth pastor have Snapchat or TikTok?
Nah.
I'm going to say no.
Nah, I don't think so.
Guys, we're getting old. I mean,
and it's kind of, what about TikTok? I've never had TikTok.
I don't really know.
I've looked on it, and it's everybody's dancing, everybody's half naked. The only reason I had to look on it is because a student came to me and said, "There's another student in your youth group who's put some inappropriate stuff on TikTok," and I'm not going to say names, but I had to track that down and check it out, and they weren't wrong. They weren't wrong. But
last thing here on this thought.
Okay.
It doesn't go away. Okay.
Nothing goes away.
So what you post on social media, and this goes for youth pastors too, students, what you post on social media could come back and cost you a job one day.
Oh, it could.
I mean, there's a coach right now, I forgot, somewhere out west that made a comment on Facebook in 2013, 7 years ago, 2013, he made a post that now they're viewing as a racial post, and he's probably going to lose his job. I mean, so just think, this could come back, and the same thing with youth pastors. So students don't, like so many of my students, they have a youth, a refuge. We're refuge is our students. So they have a refugees boys snap. BSM.
Any student ministry.
So, they have a refuge, and they're like, "Man, you were to get it. You got to see what's going on in our snap." I'm just not. Don't take it personal, guys.
If a student asks you to get a Snapchat, like, man, you should get a Snapchat. Yeah, that happens all the time.
I'm good.
And it's a good, as we close on this topic, I would say, the question that you have to pose for other youth pastors out there is, do you want to be their parent? Do you want to be their best friend? And I think youth pastors somewhere in the middle. But
listen,
but don't be best friends with your students.
Listen, we're the Robin to your parents is the Batman.
That's right.
We're their sidekicks, man. And listen, we're not going to go against your parents ever.
Ever.
Unless your parents is like forcing you to smoke a jewel and weed and all this kind of stuff. I'm not.
There might be something out there. Actually, I know there are, but
I'm not going to go against them.
That's right. That's right.
Final thing.
Final take.
We're here.
Final take.
Hot topic.
Hot topic.
Like it's getting hot in here right now.
It's getting hot right now.
How should a Christian view politics?
Christians and politics. Maybe even go a step further. Pastors / youth pastors, politics. What do you do with that? Man.
Tough, man.
I don't know where to start. I'll tell you this. I've seen some beautiful Christians look very ugly when they discuss politics on social media. Man.
Absolutely.
Ooh, buddy.
I think we got to be careful.
So careful.
Tensions are so high. Tensions are high, and I don't think. Here's my take. I think Christians need to be vocal about politics, but I think we need to be careful that we don't damage our testimony because of that. Christians have been quiet throughout history when it comes to politics. And traditionally Christians don't vote.
That's what the stats say.
that's our right. Now, what we're not going to do in this last little chat is we're not going to endorse anybody.
That's
right. I'm not going to say, Trump is God or Biden is the devil or vice versa. I mean, that's not our goal.
Neither one of those things are true, by the way.
So, I want to make sure that we understand that. We're not endorsing anybody, but here's what we think. How should a Christian gracefully and Christ-like talk about politics?
Man, whew. Oh, well, maybe we should lay some ground rules before we do this, like some big truths that Christians need to understand. Number one, being an American is not synonymous with being a Christian.
Yeah.
Let's just get that out there. Was America founded on some Christian principles? Sure, absolutely it was. But the landscape of our country now, because of our religious freedom, is vastly variated. Between we have plenty of Muslims and atheists, and Lord knows how diverse Christianity can be. And so, just that thought. We should also maybe say that the Republican Party is not necessarily synonymous with being Christian, and certainly not the Democratic Party either. I told my students last week when we talked about politics, because they had a question about Trump and the church and holding up the Bible and whatnot. And, I told them that there are some big picture issues in regards to politics that Christians do need to pay attention to and speak on. And this is just compounded with the racism that we have going on right now, that Christians do have the responsibility to speak out against injustice, and that will trend them in a particular direction in politics. For example, I told them that a big ticket issue for me personally is abortion. I feel very passionate about abortion.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I'm a one-issue voter or anything like that. I'm not sure of that, but I know that me operating out of a biblical worldview sees abortion as a great evil, and so I need to speak out and use what power I have as a voter to combat abortion in whatever form it takes, in our nation. And so,
absolutely,
I would pay attention to that.
And here's the deal. I mean, this is one thing I would say to students that ask that, because I've got quite a few students that are going to vote in their first presidential election this year. What I do?
They're asking you about it. That's good.
Well, here's what we do.
Good.
Here's what you do. First of all, know the facts. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Don't assume that you can get the facts from Fox or CNN or MSNBC or you name it. I mean, the Washington Post, New York Times, the Huffington Post, the Babylon Bee. I mean, you don't assume the facts. Do your research.
That's
okay?
Right. That's right.
Research these candidates. Research each one of them. Dig in. And like Jake said, also I'm the same way. What candidate is going to stand against what I feel like you said, the great evil of abortion? What candidate is going to stand for religious freedom? I mean, I know this isn't a Christian right, but I'm a gun owner. I love shooting guns. I have quite a few of them.
I like to shoot a gun.
And what candidate is going to stand for my freedom of the Second Amendment?
That's right. That's right.
I mean, so I look at those things. Research it yourself.
That's right.
You may I don't know. You may research and say that this Democrat candidate fits your views on that. I'm not sure about the abortion. That's not going to be the case. But understand that. Don't go into it with such a bias. Don't go into it with blinders on and thinking this is what I got to do.
That's right.
Research.
Don't vote just like your parents because your parents voted this way.
And your grandparents voted. They voted
that way.
Exactly.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
A lot of things have changed in our country, and we need to be intelligent about what we do.
That's right.
For so long Christians have been viewed as like cows. They you just drive them through this chute and they're going to do whatever we tell them to do. But guys, be intelligent. Be smart about that. Slow to speak.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Slow to anger.
Slow to anger.
Because guys, listen, there's a lot of things out there on social media right now that makes me angry. And I have to remind myself that's not my battle.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so make sure you are slow to speak. Listen, before you honestly, just don't post anything on Facebook. I mean, honestly, because there's so much of this nowadays that just, and you can quickly lose your Christian testimony because of that. And that is the worst thing we can do over this.
This is stirring a hornet's nest a little bit, but
kick it.
You're right. Don't post anything on social media. You're not swaying anyone. You're not changing anyone by your Facebook post.
Exactly.
And you don't want to be known more for your allegiance to Trump than your allegiance to Christ.
Exactly.
You don't want that. You don't want that reputation. And so, man, I think that from the pulpit speaking, or from the whatever you preach from, I got a pub table. I do. But anyway, we should teach the big truths of Scripture and allow people, our congregants, to filter those and guide their decision making. But you're right. Be informed. Research. There are. I think there's evils that are being combated by both parties, really, and some more than other. And so, man, we should always seek to do justice, to speak lovingly and graciously, and be passionate about what God's passionate about. God loves righteousness, therefore He must hate sin. Is your heart the same way?
Exactly.
Do you love righteousness and do you hate sin?
So this is my last thought on this. Be informed. Know your stuff. Know what you believe, and compare that candidate through the lens of Christianity. How do they size up? And that's the case. And then there's going to be some times where you're going to have to vote, and that person doesn't have Christian morals. They don't have Christian values. And then that's going to be one of those times where you're just going to have to really bathe that in prayer. Lord, what do you want me to do? Which, lead me to the candidate that you need me to do. So, God can use unchristian people to accomplish His will.
Oh, we did it all the time.
I mean,
we're going through Exodus at Bethany right now. Look at Pharaoh.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's called the Old Testament.
Yeah.
So there you go. I mean, just keep that in mind. What's your thoughts? Where do we go from here?
I don't know. Let's bring in our special guest.
Special guest.
We do have a special guest available for us today, live on the podcast. And so as we continue this podcast, I'm really hoping that we get better at it. So you guys have to be gracious with us, but also, man, we would love to rope different members of our community in. We'd love to rope our students in, and so we have both a member of the community and a student present with us today. Grant, why don't you introduce yourself?
I'm Grant Barnes. I go to Strawn. I'm going into the 9th grade, and I go to Bethany.
Also, ladies, look, he's single. Yeah, just say it.
Forever single, for the time being.
For a while.
For a while, yeah.
He's hitched to his Bible right now.
Amen. Yeah, come on.
And systematic theology.
Tell us about that plan that you're doing. Are you going through that F-260 plan?
I am. This morning I read 1 Thessalonians chapter 3 through the end of that, and every day I read one chapter, and it tells you what to read, and it kind of gives a brief explanation of what it is.
That's pretty cool. And you also read 2 whole books since coronavirus started, right?
One whole book.
You didn't finish the other one?
No.
Oh, well. Which book did you read all the way through?
Stop Asking Jesus Into Your Heart.
Stop Asking Jesus Into Your Heart by J.D. Greear.
Yeah,
it's choice. A good book. It is a good book.
If any Carolina kids want to use that, it's in my office. Just let me know.
Yeah, I got a copy too. We love books.
Yeah, we got them.
We'll give them out.
And one of the ways that it said that you're saved is when you do sin, and you feel the Holy Spirit condemning you, and that is also one of the ways that you know.
Ooh, that's good. That's good.
Good stuff.
Man, that's good. All right.
What's your hobbies there, Barnes?
Right now it's fishing.
Love it. Love it.
Fishing.
Fishing and fishing.
It's
Okay.
good.
So tell me, how many poles do you have?
5.
5.
Good choice.
I had 6, but it wasn't worth it.
Like, I thought I knew a little bit about fishing. I thought I was an amateur fisherman until I started talking to Grant Barnes, and then I realized how little I knew about fishing.
So, what can you say? So, glad to have Grant on board with us today.
Man, we're sure glad.
We're going to go eat some lunch in a minute. What do you want to eat today? What are you feeling like?
Favorite place to eat lunch in Andalusia? Go.
Favorite place?
Right now it's Popeyes.
Popeyes.
I've been there. I've been there.
Oh
I've been there
gosh,
once.
He's trendy.
Okay, all
I've
right.
been there once, and it was a great.
Nothing against Popeyes.
It was
Yeah.
a great experience.
Nothing
Where's the
against
support
Popeyes.
for the small businesses at?
Crow's-
Second favors.
Second favorite.
I like a crow's nest.
Crow's
Ooh,
nest.
crow's
Got a
nest.
little crow's
Barbecue,
feet.
barbecue baked
Yes.
potato.
Barbecue
Barbecue
baked
baked
potato.
potato.
Good choice. Good
What's your
choice.
favorite place to eat lunch in Andalusia?
What do you think?
We can't have the same one because we gotta do
David's Catfish.
David's Catfish, man.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's where
we
I'm
do.
at, man.
We have posted
Oh.
up at David's Catfish.
Oh, I bet I know what you're
several
about to say. What are you about to say?
I
We
don't
should go
know.
there today.
Should I shine some light on this place?
No.
Because it's a hidden gem, and I don't want anybody else to know about it.
Oh, this is gonna be good. Say it.
Listen, y'all don't go to the airport to eat lunch because
Okay.
it's not good.
Okay.
And the secret is that it's absolutely amazing. Go out to
Absolutely.
the airport, man. It's awesome. That's
Yeah.
my favorite place to eat lunch.
Oh,
I
I
can
can't
eat as
believe I
much
didn't
as
think
I
about that.
want.
And it's open today.
Oh man, they got like a flat rate. I forgot how cheap it is, but it's
Yeah,
cheap for all that
$10.
food. Jeez, man, you can eat as much as you want. I
Yeah.
love going to the airport. I'm a big fan of Tabby D's. I love me some
Yeah.
Tabby
There
D's.
you go. Local
CJ's
favorites.
is good.
Our youth group had, before Corona hit, we had a thing called Taste of Andalusia. So every Sunday night, we started on our end of town down here with Popeyes, and we have worked our way. We had worked our way all the way to Jack's when Corona hit.
Jack's is good, man.
So we were going to hit every.
Good
We're going to have the finer taste of Andalusia.
Hey, well, we have like half of our church is Power South employees. Let's just be honest. And so anytime you go to lunch with those guys, they take us to Steamboat.
Yeah,
You
gotta
go
go
Steamboat.
Steamboat. We do
Steamboat's
that too.
fine, man.
We do that
Steamboat
too.
is fine.
So, all right, guys, it's been great.
Been wonderful.
Listen, I got an idea.
Outstanding.
I got an idea. Great idea. Here we go. You guys comment below. Let's do like they do on YouTube. You comment below on
Yes.
what name you think we should name this podcast.
Yes, we need a name for the
We need a name.
podcast. My name's Jake.
People call me G.
His name's Garrett. People call him G. It's a little hood. I like it.
G. I've been called G Dog, G Dizzle, G Money.
I
Which
haven't
I
got
don't have
any of
either.
that. Jakey Poo. I have got
Jakey
that.
Poo.
But don't use that.
Okay, that's right. So comment below. Hey, listen, you may have some questions for us.
We'd
for
love
our
to
next-
answer questions
Please.
on the next podcast.
Yeah,
This can
absolutely.
come from parents or students. This can come
Yeah.
from anybody. We're open to it.
It could be like this question: how much do you make before taxes?
We're
not gonna answer that one.
Yeah, no, nobody wants to know that.
So anyway,
But
all right. So guys, listen, we've enjoyed this, Jake. It was a lot of fun.
man, it was a lot of fun.
Grant, great
It was
to
a lot
have
of
you here
fun.
with us.
I'm a little biased, but this is one of my favorite youth pastors in Covington County. So,
So, all right, guys, we'll see you next time, and we hope you've enjoyed this.
see you later. I thought that was great, man. Thought that was great.